let's take a tour of the kitchen garden before it's all gone with the winter, shall we? I'm Mikair with More Prana Gardens, and I think that after this one I'm going to space out the garden tours a little bit more. I've been doing them every 2 weeks, but the weather's not going to allow that to continue, so we'll probably have one in December, and then we'll see about January, and we'll pick up again from there. Alrighty? So let's jump in. We're actually going to start a little behind the kitchen garden because we have a couple of little stragglers. So let me get you flipped around here. So this big, beautiful thing does not sound thunky yet. So I'm going to let it sit here a little longer and we'll see what happens with it. This is a Moon and Stars watermelon. The last one we had this size, we estimated, was about 35, 40 pounds based on comparison with a cat litter bucket. You know, science. And in the strawberry bed, we have some celery. This is the pink celery. And this was actually planted in the spring and it just kind of didn't do much. And now it's starting to wake up and decide to be alive. And one little yarrow. All right. And then this is really the kitchen garden. But you can see that watermelon vine started from there and came out. We have a ginormous Roselle. I've already harvested quite a bit from this one if you've seen the video where I'm dumping them out of the endless garden bag. Most of those came from this plant, but it has some more that are going to be ready in the next few days. We are expecting a possible frost on Friday night, so I will come out and pick up everything that's ready before that happens. Down here we have, this is the carrot bed. I did sow a little, so we do have a few carrots popping up. I've tried the carrot seeding method where you sow your seeds and then you put either like a coffee sack, the fabric kind, over top of it, or you do cardboard or a board over top of it, and then you keep that wet until they germinate, and then you take that off, and then you have this miraculous field of carrots. It's never worked for me. Not once. I've tried it so many times. So I went back to my other method, and I'll show you what that looks like really, really quickly. What I do is I put some compost under here, some finished compost, and I put down some comfrey leaves, which this one oddly has not deteriorated. This leaf has been laying here for months. That is so weird. But then I put down a heavy layer of straw and I throw my seeds down through that and I water in, and then they come up through the straw like this. This was the first way I ever seeded carrots, and it seems to work the best for me. And we have this sad little nasturtium getting eaten by who knows what. And then another little nasturtium baby popping up back here. We use these for food, but also as nitrogen fixers. Now, I think I've showed y'all before, but we have a little small animal habitat here. This was called Toad Island, but we haven't seen too many toads this year. This year it's been a lot of insects, and they're good too. And we did have a little toad who lived under here for a bit, underneath this yarrow. We have a little very harvested lemon basil. And then this one is a holy basil. This is the type that smells like clove. And you can see that it's gotten some damage from the last frost. So this didn't look like this before the last frost, and when I came out the morning after, just the edges were damaged. So I think I'm gonna cut that back probably this afternoon and see how it handles the frost that way. So this is our little basil forest. The lettuce leaf didn't like the frost very much, but that's okay. It was on its way out. I was letting it seed anyhow. The dark opal basil did just fine with it, and we've harvested lots off of this one this year. I keep trying to get it pinched back. See how it's just starting to get a little seed head? So if you come in just below that, pop that off, and now it's going to keep being more productive. And that works on most of your basils. There are a couple that like to keep their seeds. This, oops, not that one. This one is a Genovese. So regular old sweet basil. And it's been pretty delicious. And then this one here, this is the African Nunum basil. It was new from Baker Creek this year. It was hard to germinate. This basil didn't want to germinate until it got hot. And my Thai basil and my lemon basil were the same, but this one waited even longer. But the nice thing about African Nunum basil, it tastes like a basil plant and an oregano plant made a little herby love child. And it's rather tasty. I like it. You might try that one. And then we have a bigger lemon basil, and I was keeping this one picked until just recently. This is actually my favorite basil to make pesto with. And then I just do a splash of apple cider vinegar instead of adding the lemon juice into it. And I get my lemon flavor from here. And that's always really nice. I enjoy that. Now we're gonna come around to the other side. So we're right next to the Roselle. And this is a Coreopsis. This is a lance leaf Coreopsis that had seeded the year before. And it was actually growing right on the edge, right there where that little dish is. And so we just scooched him over. And there's part of that same watermelon vine. So pretty soon here in the next week or so, I'm gonna pull out the watermelon vine and put it in the compost after I pick the watermelon. And there's another watermelon in that tuft of grass right there. There's a watermelon underneath there. You can't see it from this angle. I have an eggplant. This is Rosita, maybe? This made stripy eggplants for me, and it looks like it's trying. But I don't think we'll get any more considering the weather. It's just a little late for them, but it's done well here. I was impressed. This side of the kitchen garden is a new garden space this year, so I really didn't expect much of it. All right, swinging back around. So now we're by that frost-damaged holy basil that we looked at a second ago, and this, see, let me zoom out for you. Starting here, going over there, all the way over to here, this is a habanero. This habanero was my smallest and weakest pepper plant, so it was the one that I used to learn how to prune peppers. So what I've been doing is, you see how this leaf comes out of a Y? There's a Y right there, and then this leaf is the oddball. So I've been pulling those off. And this plant was smaller than this when I put it in. And I started pruning it earlier, and it's gone nuts. So I already have a big jar of dehydrated habaneros inside. And then I'll pick anything that's not even this ripe, anything that's close tonight ahead of the frost, and get those in the dehydrator as well. But you can just see, like, just look at that. Is that crazy? So many habaneros. This is a lemon, is it lemon spice or lemon slice? I forget all the time, but it's a jalapeno. And I let one turn yellow over here, and he has been digested now. And then there's a little orange slice jalapeno plant back there. He's tiny. He's being shaded out by the habanero. These Shishitos have been so good. They're still producing and they're still flowering, but I'm not expecting to get much more from them. This one here, this is a regular early hot jalapeno, and it's still trying to make babies. And I picked almost all of its fruit last week ahead of the other frost, but I did miss one. You can see it dangling over there. There it goes. And I think the jigsaws are done. I don't see many flowers. They have a couple of these little, they still have some purple peppers on them. They start out purple and then they turn kind of this like pretty peach color. And of course there's none of those in here to show you. They turn a pretty peach from there and then a bright, bright red. And then my last pepper plant over here is this Poblano, which got big and tall for me. But this is the only one it's made so far that is not bug-eaten or sunburned. So I've grown several on it, but I keep finding them looking like this. So it'll get cut down. So all of these peppers, when these start to show frost damage, I'm going to cut them down low and above a node and then mulch them and leave them in the ground. So if they have a leaf node, then they'll have something to grow from for next year. And I'll go through and do that with all of these. And then Mr. Giant Habanero here will probably get transplanted out to a different garden next year. All right, so back over to this side. We have a big, beautiful sage. This one got transplanted from one that I started from seed last summer, or last spring 2020. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And it has done so well. It's had a massive haircut and had a lot of its stuff dried. So we do have a big fluffy jar of sage in the spice cabinet now, and that's really nice. We've been picking off of that. This oregano was another transplant from seed. We started this one in a pot. We had a problem last year with our cats using our oregano as a litter pan. And they killed a few with the ammonia. So this one lived in a pot throughout the spring, summer, and winter, and then it got transplanted this spring into this spot, and it's doing very well here. It seems to love it. So we're excited about that. And then this, oh, the pineapple sage that I thought would never flower finally did. And they're so beautiful and bright. I'm really enjoying this plant. And then, whoa, I'm tripping on things. Okay, sorry, lost a little balance there. And we have the other part of our basil forest here. So the dark opal was intentional and the Genovese was intentional, and some of this holy basil was intentional, but we also had a volunteer in there, so it got way out of hand really fast. But that's okay because we enjoy them, the bees enjoy them. We use it, we pluck off some of that and put it underneath the hay in the hen house. And they seem to be liking that, so that's good. And then I did forget to show you, looky here. We've got some garlic chives going under here. These have been delicious. And I just keep picking off of them. If you cut them down low, they'll make new. So you can just keep cutting them. Ah! And finally, a volunteer cilantro. I had a big overwintered cilantro here that dropped a lot of seeds, and I've been waiting for them to come up. There's one. So that's exciting. And then, all right, y'all, listen, this is a secret. You cannot tell the cats about this. Whatever you do, don't tell the cats. Look, there's a catnip plant back here that the cats have not discovered and destroyed yet. I pick some and I bring it into them, but they don't know it's here. So far, so good on that one. So that's everything that we currently have in the kitchen garden. And then let me show you a little bit of where we're going from here. Alrighty? So this is where we had a great big rosemary. Like, it came all the way out to the borders of that little space. And then the really hard frost killed it. And so we have some inside. We had cuttings from it. So they're inside and they're making roots in a pot. And they'll come out in the spring. And I'm going to probably put just a bag of whatever-ish garden soil in there, cover it with cardboard, and lay a whole bunch of straw on it, and just let that soak, simmer, marinate, whatever you want to call it, over the winter with some organic, soil biology and stuff like that happening. Now, as I mentioned, this side was new this year, so we still have a lot of exposed cardboard. It was already cardboarded and wood chip mulched, but the grass crept in, and pardon me, and I'll come around this side to show you that. So see how the grass is creeping in here? I've been just putting down cardboard, and then when we have windstorms, I throw soil bags on top of them to hold them down, or a pot on top of them to hold them down. And sometime in December, January, something like that, I'm going to come down and remulch over all of this. I do need to get more of it cardboarded, obviously. And then let me step back so you can see all of it together. All right, so that's the kitchen door. So the kitchen garden is right off the kitchen because it's a kitchen garden. But we are extending it because peppers and basil ate that whole thing really quickly. So we started this side this spring. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pathway on this edge of it. And then start expanding the garden down this way. And I'm thinking, I haven't completely designed it, so I'm not certain. But I'm thinking I'm going to have pathway that goes like this and then curves back. And then have an exit on that side so that you can access it from that side of the yard as well. This whole side is going to be forest garden. Eventually, it's going to be lots of nut trees and perennials and all that good stuff. Possibly, we're talking about maybe a pond right there, but we don't know yet. Down by that swing, which is really, really far away. The camera makes it look closer. But I am thinking that a curving path would be nice, and then just extending the gardens around in between those paths so that we have a big area of accessible food from the kitchen. Now, if we come down low, we can see it looks like there might be a contour line here. I haven't come out and measured it. If that is the case and there is a contour line there, then I might put a swale right there and let it berm up on the other side, on the back side, the low side of the swale. Our garden faces north and east. North is over there and east is over there. So it's not ideal sun-wise, but it's okay. It does the job, certainly. I mean, you saw the basils and peppers and that massive Roselle. So it does fine with it. But if there is a contour there and I can put in a swale and then berm up the other side, that's going to be even better. And if I keep it low, it won't shade the other stuff. So, thanks so much for taking a look at our kitchen garden. I have enjoyed showing you around. I hope you will come back. I'm going to pop a couple of other garden tours up on the side of the screen for you in case you want to catch those too. And until next time, later y'all.